Hello there, everybody, and welcome back to episode 11 of my Dungeon Crawl Stone Soup tutorial series. I'm Icon, and we're going to go today into the more and more evil places of this game. So there's one thing that I want to say at the beginning of today's episode. There's a decent chance of us dying here along the way. So if that should happen, my plan is to continue this tutorial series with a different character, and I'm going to continue from that chapter on. So, with that out of the way, let's get started and get into the Elvenholds today. So, the Elvenholds are a very special area, and oh, we have a message about a interdimensional caravan. So, the Elvenholds are a zone in the game where you usually just face elves, but as you see here, there's also a orcish invasion going on. Sometimes you will meet orcish war parties because, the entrance to the Elvenholds is inside orcish territory, and I guess that's how the narrative here goes. And the worst part here is that we're facing a couple of orcish priests. They can summon demons, as we know, so I'm running around the corner here, and I'm going to be using my wand of digging here right away to carve a opening in here so I can get close to these dudes as quick as possible. And here we have the first of our deep elves, Zephyrmancer. Deep elves come basically in all four elemental flavors. You will have some of them fire elemental, water elemental, and so on and so forth. But these are actually, at this point of the game, really only a nuisance anymore, because their spells don't deal too much damage, and their biggest threat is when they come in high numbers and fling stuff at you non-stop. Okay, we got a level up. We're going to opt into more strength because, why not? More strength is more damage, and more damage is good for us. So we're going to kill the Orc Sorcerer here, and here's animated weapons. Animated weapons are a specialty of this environment. They always come with a very low amount of HP. They're very fast, and they come with a high amount of EV and AC. If you are a spellcaster, these things are a nightmare due to their extreme high resistances. They are immune to a lot of elements and highly resistant to the rest. But since we are a fighter, we don't have to worry too much about that. But I'll keep one thing here as a reminder. Oh, I see a plus 10 mace here. These weapons are enchanted, just like my spectral weapon works. They have a base damage and enhancements according to their enchantments. Here's the Pyromancer. I already mentioned these. Their specialty is that they can summon fire elementals on you, but beyond that, they're pretty standard summoners. We're not really worried about that. As a matter of fact, I'm going to auto-explore a lot down here. So here we go. There's the entrance to the timed portal here. So the Bazaar is just like you would think. It's an environment where you can buy just as much as you want to. So we're going to buy these magic mapping scrolls right away. And I am buying enchant armor too. Why not? So, oh my god, I haven't put on a better shield yet, even though I can use it. Man, silly me. Bookshop, definitely not even gonna look into there. Blinking fear scrolls, you might have remembered there was a treasure trove in the vaults, and ever since it wants scrolls of fear from me, and ever since I'm stockpiling these. Wands of digging, can't have too many of these either. Potions of invisibility, well, this one's very costly, I'm not really in. There's a glowing cloak. What kind of cloak do I wear? A regular one. So definitely gonna buy. And the rest of these aren't too interesting. So what do we have here? A freaking cloak of willpower. Awesome. This is among the best things that I could have get out of that. So let's see. Can I enchant that further? The answer is no. I could enchant my boots or my gloves, but I'm not buying. Okay, let's get out of here. And let's see. There's another potion shop here. I am very inclined to buy some of these, but I won't, because I'm pretty low on money already. And none of these items I really need. I have 7 potions of heal wounds on me, and that should be perfectly enough to tackle whatever engagements are upon me, and therefore I don't feel like I need to. The Elvenholds at this point are actually way too easy for me, and I don't mind at all. So the basic enemies here are elves, elementals, and orcs, and as you can see here already, I'm just smacking them. Well, the thing here is the elves come with a lot of mobility spells and all these things, but they also come with one other thing: almost no AC and a very, very low amount of HP. If you've ever played Deep Elves yourself, you know how squishy they are. But this dude here is the first one we need to talk about seriously. That's an Annihilator. The Deep Elves come in Standard class, and oh my god, it's so deadly class. And the Annihilators are part of that class. So it comes from the Crystal Spear. I already mentioned that in the last episode, from the Liches. And the other spells are also pretty nasty. So with these dudes, it's really important to take them seriously, focus them as quick as possible, and never think that you are safe while one of these dudes is actually alive. I'm trying to break line of sight, and whenever I can't reach this dude, whenever I can't reach this dude, my first and foremost endeavor is to think about how can I. And if there's somebody between me and the Annihilator, it's all fine, because they can't shoot over the heads of their buddies. But as soon as there's nothing between you and the shooting line between these guys, think about how to kill them. Otherwise, they'll do it to you. So here we have our next pack of nasties. So here is a Deep Elf Sorcerer. These belong to a similar class like the Annihilators. That's because of their Hurl Damnation spell. Damnation is freaking nasty. It avoids all your resistances. It's pure damage, and they can also banish you into the abyss. But since my dude is at a very high willpower, that most likely won't happen anymore. We're going to run away here until we are around that corner, and now we're going to get inside there and get rid of all these nasty summoners and win this now, finally. Okay, I'm slightly corroded. By the way, when you're corroded, corrosion is one of the nastiest conditions in game, and you should frickin' take it seriously. A corrosion value of -4 is for fighters tolerable, but a problem. You shouldn't be fighting really powerful enemies anymore. Everything beyond that, it goes down in steps of 4, is just a nightmare, and you should drop the combat immediately when you are at corrosion 8 or worse, because it not only does make your hit chance worse, it also lowers your AC. It's just a nightmare. Okay, Deep Elf Knight, for us, they're not really that dangerous anymore. We're tackling these. Warple Halberd, not too nasty either. I start to notice though, whenever I can't summon my spectral weapon, my damage starts to fall very, very low. And here's Francis. Francis is a very, very similar enemy, just like Asterion, but as you see here, this dude only has access to regular demons, and that makes Francis a lot less bad as Asterion. Basically, Francis is the smaller version of Asterion, so we're okay with taking down that dude like that. Okay, here's a Altar of Quaslal. Lots of elementals in there. Themed room, because the god Quaslal gives you access to these elementals as well. And let's go down to Elvenholds too. So a wave of frost has washed over me, so that means there's a special area here. Elvenholds 2 always includes this area down here, the so-called Hall of Blades. There's tons of living weapons down there. If you struggle dealing with living weapons, you can't just leave that place closed, and you don't ever need to worry about that. And Elf 3 is going to be the finale. So this one here, this level is quite similar to what we had before. So let's get inside this area here. This is yet another time-based portal. So here we are in an ice realm. These realms always come with their own theme, and from my own experiences, I can only recommend you to be very, very cautious with these side branches. They are, more often than not, super deadly, more deadly than the regular dungeon is, and I've lost many good characters in these environments. So up here we have to fight an orange crystal statue. They really suck. They are basically a orange brain in form of a statue. They summon lots of enemies, and as you see here, these enemies, they don't just go away quickly or anything. You have to kill them mostly, because shadow creatures now last a lot longer than before. Okay, we're going to take the other way around here and see what we can do. Simulacrums are also really nasty because they basically are a copy of the regular enemy plus an extreme amount of extra ice damage on top of that. The simulacrum always works like the original, only worse. Quicksilver ooze. Well, here we go. Quicksilver ooze is a magic draining slime. Immune to acid, resistant to poison. It's fast, very fast, but beyond that, there's nothing much more we need to know. Here we go. Condenser vein. I'm not going to pick this up because that's going to spawn lots of clouds, and I'm not interested in that. So we're going to close into the orange crystal statue one more time and smack it. Whenever these things summon so many enemies between you and them that you can't even reach them anymore, back off, kill the summons, and retry. Everything else is madness. As long as you are in the line of sight with a summoner, he's just going to summon more and more and more and more enemies, and you don't get any rewards for that either. So, the real way of beating summoners is always to break the line of sight and get them to walk into your face. If that's not possible, kill their minions first and force them afterwards to walk into your face. Everything else really didn't work out for me. Okay, so this is a slime variant of this icy environment. I've had that on one of my streams lately. Slime creatures, as usual, you need to kite around, otherwise they just combine. And even with this Minotaur dude here, you might have already noticed, I don't dare to fight the slimes if they are too many fused together. And that's a new enemy, I don't know that yet. A rock slime. Lots and lots of AC. That's the highest AC I've seen so far. And lots of damage. Fast, giant, a avalanche turned in a slime turned into avalanche. So here's an azure jelly. That's a cold version of that one. But we're okay. And there's an altar of Jiva. Jiva is the god of slimes. It's a really, really fun thing to play that. And the Amulet of Asceticism, my god, this is like Christmas. It's just like the artifact version of what I already got. It has reflection, it has shield, and it has regeneration. Hell yeah. So we don't need anything else anymore. We're going to put away the other items here because we found our amulet for the rest of the game. So here's another hat with -3. But it comes with our poison, willpower plus, and dexterity. Sometimes it is worth wearing these items even though they are bad for some of your stats. This one ain't, because it doesn't offer anything we need. So let's get out of here and back into the Elvenholds. So here we go. But that amulet really was a good drop for me. Okay, kicking out the elves. Alrighty. So we're clearing out this real casually. The Elvenholds usually are something I take on very late. Because, you know, I am taking it a little bit too late, actually. Oh yeah, haste potion. And cancellation, so that's good. But I have made good experiences with being very, very cautious with this area. But as a rule of thumb, as soon as your character has decent elemental resistances, a decent way of bursting down enemies, and a decent amount of willpower, you're strong enough to go at least for Elvenholds 1 or 2. You should not go to Elvenholds 1 or 2 if you don't know how to beat floating weapons, because they really can mess your experience a lot. Or if you lack any of the other stats I mentioned a moment before. Because the elemental resistances, well, I think you already noticed how many elemental sources of damage there are in this area here. And the willpower against the banishments and the other nasty hexes the enemies can apply here. And yeah. If you are up for all of that, you definitely can go for the first 2 levels without any problem. Thing here is just, there's not really anything reliable to get out of the Elvenholds, at least the first 2 levels. The real big loot comes in the last level, Elvenholds 3. But, you know, before that, it's mostly a show of XP and some random loot for you. There can be really good things, but there's also a very high chance of nothing special lying around here. An Evening Star of Holy Wrath. Okay, Kite Shield of Reflection. My dear Donald, you're gonna give these to me. Donald is, at this point of the game, practically harmless, but Donald likes to spawn with extremely good gear. As you've noticed here, Evening Star of Holy Wrath, Kite Shield of Reflection, those are all quality items. So we got even more reflection. Sadly, that doesn't stack on top of each other, but I'll be taking that nevertheless. +0 Evening Star of Draining, so yeah, well, okay. I found a lot of nice base variants of the weapons, but none of them came with a good brand for me. It's quite tragic. So, let's see. Mace. Let's check it out. So the best stuff we found so far was always not enchanted properly. Too bad. So, it seems as if I have to try to end this game with just a +9 Mace of Spectral Weapon brand. This is the first time for me. Usually I go with heavier weapons, but at the same time I gotta say the Spectral brand is new. It hasn't been in the game before, and so far it seems to be pretty kick-ass as long as you are able to utilize that correctly. But who knows, maybe I'll find something good here. Thing there is, I noticed that as long as I have some room to get this dude going, I have no problem in killing my enemies, but without it, my damage is really, really low. So, well, let's go into the depths level 1. I am skipping out Elvenholds 3 now until I have to go there. So down here, we got a couple of Rakshasa and a couple of Deep Trolls. So I'm waiting here for the enemy to get close. We already had Mara. Rakshasa worked like Mara. You remember Mara? Rakshasa can make copies of themselves or of their allies. That's really nasty about that. And you never know which one is the real one. Here, the Deep Troll Earth Mages are totally harmless if you're not made out of stone. Lee's Rapid Deconstruction deals a terrible amount of damage if you are a construct. That's only happening if you're either a gargoyle or if you are under the effect of the statue form spell. If that applies, these dudes are really dangerous for you. If not, they are just nasty enemies that can do a dig spell, which means they can destroy your cover. That's the most nasty part about them. So, whoops. Alright. Let's go downstairs into the depths again. And there's my first fire dragon. Dragons are, at this point, pretty harmless. If you have the necessary resistances, it's really a walk in the park. Usually you should be really careful with those, but I don't need to be that careful anymore. Here, you just ignore that one, okay? That's an entrance to a ziggurat. Ziggurats are optional super deep dungeons where you can face absolute death and doom, basically. They are bound with lots and lots of levels of enemies, basically, and every floor of the ziggurat has a theme. It's like a pyramid. The deeper you go, the more dangerous it grows, and the larger the floors grow. You start out at the smallest floor, and you go deeper. Comes with 27 floors, and basically, as far as I know, there is no limit to ziggurats in game. So we're going to enchant that Evening Star. An Evening Star of Protection. My god, how can I be so freaking unlucky? I've had so many brand weapon scrolls in this run, yet every single one of them was entirely useless, giving me brands nobody would actually want. Wow. Sad life. Alright. Okay. So there's a big pack of trolls here around me. I did say one wrong thing there though. The deep troll earth mages are pretty nasty if you happen to stand right next to a wall. These rapid deconstruction can be used to be fired onto a wall, and then the explosion will hit you. Here's a Spriggan air mage. This is a big problem because they can do airstrike, and airstrike is that one thing that actually bothers me because, you know, I am flying and therefore airstrike hurts a ton. So let's carefully walk away of that. Or maybe I can whack this dude. Okay. Nice. So once these Spriggan air mages are in the vicinity, I really gotta be super, super careful. Okay, here we go. Couple of water elementals, nothing too special though. Okay, more haste potions. I immediately buy those because once you are in the actual end game, haste potions turn into your best friends. Alright. So here, this is kind of a worst case scenario. Iron trolls hastened and mighted up by their shamans. I retreated because I knew that I can take this dude while I'm going upstairs, while he's under these conditions, but I don't want to go further than that. Okay, so for the end of this episode, we're going to go into the third level of the Elvenholds. The first thing that I want to do here is magic map this place. There we go. So just like with all finale parts, you already see this is the danger zone. This is where the worst part will be staging at. Therefore, I do my my pathing accordingly. I'll try to get away or steer clear from these areas as much as I can, trying to explore that as the last part. Okay, here's the Moth of Wrath. These are crazy. They are on their own super harmless, but they can berserk everything in their vicinity. Right now, this doesn't sound too dangerous, but as soon as you've seen a fight with several frenzied or berserked dragons on you, you know what pain is. And that's why Moths of Wrath are among the worst enemies in game. On their own, they're pretty harmless, but combine them with any strong melee enemy and you have a terrible situation. Among the most terrible situations that you can possibly think about. Okay, there's another Deep Elf Sorcerer. We smacked him. So, there's a couple of Deep Elves that you really need to keep an eye out for, but don't you worry, I'll mention them all here. After this video, you will know what can kill you down here. And I got teleported randomly. How nasty. So, this jumping spider, by the way, was cheating. It's a shapeshifter. Shapeshifters come more often the further you get down in the dungeon, and they swap forms crazy and erratically. So whenever you find some enemy that really doesn't seem to fit into the picture, it's going to be most likely a shapeshifter. So here we go. You see there's the first Deep Elf Annihilator and the first Deep Elf Death Mage. Death Mages, they can enchant their buddies and basically give them a new life. So when they die, they get resurrected immediately. So here we go. There's a Blade Master on me. Blade Masters are really, really nasty. They are the strongest fighters the elves have in store, and they are actually dangerous enough that I bring up my Okowaru buffs. That's how dangerous I think they are. So here's another Annihilator. So I'm down to 120 HP. That's very, very uncomfortable. So I'm going to sip in at least one of my heal wound potions just to be high enough on HP. Okay, that was a little bit overcautious, but you know, there's no such thing as overcaution. So here we're now going to work ourselves deeper into that. So there's several Deep Elf sorcerers. What I'm going to do now is so-called kill hole digging. So I'm going to dig the path down here a little bit further, and then I'm going to dig down here further, and now I have this corner where my enemies cannot see me while they're getting close. It's really, really important because otherwise summoners and such will just swarm and kill you. So here we go, tracking the enemy, stepping behind my corner here and start slapping. Okay, there's another Annihilator. And now we're going to rinse and repeat that a little bit. Elementalists are also very, very annoying. They summon earth elementals out of the environment, as you see, and they're meant to ruin your defenses. Luckily, they sooner or later always come close to you, but if you ever happen to struggle with getting close to them, just pop a teleport scroll, go upstairs, wait a while, and then the earth elementals will disperse ultimately. In the long run, the easiest way of getting rid of these dudes is to hold out their onslaught, because at some point they will always run into your face. I don't know why, but that's just what they do. Alright, so High Priests. The Elvish High Priests, they just work exactly like the Orcish High Priests. They summon lots of demons, and if you leave them unchecked, they are really problematic. I think they can also hurl damnation on you, just like the sorcerers can do, so be careful with that. Okay, here, there's that's Hellfire, that's damnation. So I'm corroded here right now, but like I mentioned, a small amount of corrosion is absolutely manageable for a experienced fighter. Here we go. And there's a Demonologist. So Deep Elf Demonologists, well, I don't think I need to explain it. The worst thing about them, though, is that they can summon greater demons. Every enemy that's able to summon greater demons should be on your watch list and warning list really as a really massive exclamation mark, because they are among the worst things that can spawn into your face. Because greater demons, well, that's just basically the worst of demons. So the Elementalists ruined a part of my kill hole, so I stepped inside that tunnel here and dug a new one. It's pretty common that you won't be able to get this part here done without digging a new kill hole. Pretty used to that. And here, by the way, is a Master Archer. I didn't mention these yet. They are super deadly. Like, they do so effing much damage from afar. I'd highly recommend you to lure them into corners like I did here. Okay. So another thing you might have already noticed is I never go deeper inside there. I always kite outside as soon as I have a couple of enemies on me. Oh, look at that. A +7 flail. Let's take that. This is definitely stronger than my mace. But, well, Oh, I'm out of inventory slots. Okay. So this is going to be what I'm going to use here. It has a damage of 10, so it's better than that what I got right now. And it comes with some resistance to to electricity, and it also comes with corrosion resistance. Only problem there is my resistance to negative energy is now gone, so we'll probably have to fix that. Another thing that's bothering me is I don't like being out of inventory slots, so give me a sec, my friends. So, oh yeah, I slurped up a couple of really useless items here. They're not useless, they're actually powerful, but nothing I need. So we're getting closer to the end of this one, and I'm very carefully moving here, always keeping close to corners where I can hide again, because, you know, you're only done with this place once you're done with this place. Remember that. So one of Mind Burst, and this is why you came all the way down here. This place here is filled. You see, there's already the second unique item here. It's filled with rare items, and more often than not, you'll find just the things you need in here. But as a rule of thumb, if your character doesn't really need anything in particular, item-wise, it's sometimes even smarter to leave the Elvenholds completely. If you feel uncomfortable with the enemies down here, if you don't feel as if you're able to get this done, it's most of the times even better to just completely skip out. There's nothing worse than knowing that you won't make it and still going down here. It's not necessary for ending the game, not at all. I repeat, not at all, and therefore it's really up to you. So we're done with this part of today's program. So we did get something out of this. I found a better weapon down there, so my visit in the Elvenholds was definitely worth it. I'm pretty sure that this will be actually enough to finish the game with. I'm very, very confident, and we're going to go deeper here in the next episode. Until then, my friends, I thank you so much for watching. We're being back with... Or will I be back, or will I be dead? No. The Hellhogs were pretty dangerous. We're going to be back with more action there. Next episode, we're going to clear out the rest of the things that we didn't clear out yet, and slowly, I guess, we will be going for the third rune in the next episode. I'll be talking about options and methods you can take there, and can't wait to get there. So, drop your comments down below, leave a thumbs up, and of course, consider subscribing. And hope to see you guys next time. Bye-bye.